Hello, I'm Erik Davis. We are at South by Southwest Film Festival with Star Wars: The Last Jedi, director Rian Johnson, producer Ron Bergman, star Mark Hamill. Hello. So, Star Wars: The Last Jedi is available at home today, right now. I noticed, it's stuffed with some really fun deleted scenes. And so I guess I want to start, I'm curious, at what point do you decide, like, we're just going to put a bunch of deleted scenes on here versus we're going to do an extended cut or a director's cut? Like, was that latter ever considered?
No, I would never do an extended or director's cut. I feel like everything that was taken out, even the stuff I really love, was taken out for a reason. And I'm happy people get to see it, but the movie became what it became for a reason. I feel like the cut we put out there is the best cut of the movie.
I love the Caretaker party scene. I remember, Ryan, I was talking to you a few months ago, and you told me that Return of the Jedi was a bit of an influence on this film, and I watched that scene, and I immediately thought Return of the Jedi.
Completely, yeah. Yeah, that was one of our big creature scenes, and that was and just having fun with those creatures, and it was a great day on set because they choreographed this whole dance routine, and they had these goofy instruments that they were playing, and that's something that I'm really, it was a bummer, man, hitting that delete button and taking that whole section out. But it's also
one of the lessons that Luke gives to Rey.
It's a great scene between you two. Yeah.
What's with the lessons? Well, if you see the scene, she learns one, and it's sort of a mean a thing for Luke to do, and he laughs about it. So I like that part about it because it shows you that even a suicidal old grump has the sense of humor still glimmers down below.
Yeah, it was one of the few moments in that film that we saw Luke kind of lighten up a little bit, I thought.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and he does teach her a lesson, but she learns the hard way. And she says, "Why didn't you tell me?" And you ran so fast. And it just reminded me of my uncle. He used to do. He had. And my wife's got a mean streak, she'll say, isn't this a fun, no, she'll say, isn't this a funny, she showed me a video of a dog that they put little mittens on and he didn't like him, and my reaction is, that is so mean, and she's like, is this good? No, it's not good.
The documentary, The Director and the Jedi, I love. And I knew when you did this film, I was like, he's going to make a really awesome behind-the-scenes kind of nerdy documentary out of this. And so there's a couple of moments that I just loved. I loved you reuniting with Frank Oz and Yoda. And what was that like for you?
Well, see, it's unexpectedly emotional. I walked in going, oh boy, I get to work with Frank. And it just, the sense memory of going back all those years, especially when you thought you'd never, I've seen Frank over the years. I haven't seen Yoda over the years. And the fact that they would go to the old school puppetry again, rather than put a piece of tape on and have Frank doing the voice, and it was special because they didn't have to do it that way, and they did.
Now, did you have to ask permission to bring Yoda back, or you're like, I'm just going to write Yoda in here and they'll figure it out? Like, how did that?
No, really early, it just made all the sense in the world that if we were going to have Luke on the island, and once especially it became clear that this was going to be his arc, it made so much sense to have Yoda come back as a Force ghost. And
who else are you going to talk to?
Yeah, that's the thing. And also because he was to you what you kind of were supposed to be for Rey. And so once we did, in my head, besides just wanting to work with Frank, besides just wanting to do the puppet, it also made sense to do the puppet because that's the version of Yoda that Luke knew from Empire. It's the last version he saw. So, but yeah, Neil Scanlon, who ran our creature department, it's detailed in the doc. You can see the process they went through.
Got the mold back.
Found the original mold. They don't mention this, but they actually found the woman who painted Yoda's original eyes. And they found her. She was still around, and they had her repaint the eyes for Yoda. They really took it to the nth degree to make that puppet work.
I also love the moment, Luke and Leia's moment towards the end of the movie. I think you see just how emotional it was for Carrie, too, as she's crying when you hit cut. Was it also very emotional for you? What was that moment?
Well, because, obviously I wasn't, when I read 7, I thought, I'm not ever going to get to work with Harrison again. And that was hard. And then, so I relished the fact that we had a moment at all. And it was like I say, the movie deals in all those issues of closure. I mean, it's stated right out, forget the past, kill it if you have to, and he's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
First Han, then Luke. I said to Carrie, I said, if this is a pattern, you're next. She just laughed it off and said, well, at least I won't be glowing green. But we understood, at least for our characters, it was goodbye forever. Yeah. And that's always tough. It was like, that Lassie moment in a way. Go on, girl,
Yeah. Did you ever think over the years, have a vision of I think this is how Luke should die, and how different or similar was it to how Rian wrote?
No, I really didn't. My son Nathan he'll say, "Oh, Dad, they've cloned your hand. There's an evil Luke." Really? He tells me I have a beautiful redheaded wife, which they kindly provided 10 years after I finished doing the movies. So it's overwhelming, the amount of ancillary material, the video games, the comic books, the role-playing games, etc., etc. But I had to let that all go. It's an interesting thing because, you see in the documentary, I'm passionate about these things, but once it's in Ryan's hands and John Williams is doing his music, I mean, they don't need the actors anymore except for ADR. You have to let it go. Yeah. And I have this strange kind of, since you can't go back, you can't change it. That's why it's so hard for me to see these films, because I don't like looking at myself, oh, why did I do it this way? It could be trivial, oh, I don't like the way my hair is or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It belongs to the public now. It doesn't belong to me.
Yeah, I think a lot of the movie is about letting go. Let go of everything you think this is and embrace what it could become.
Well, it's also about the things we keep from the past, though.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I feel like the quote of "let the past die" gets kind of latched onto because it's kind of like the big sexy quote of the movie. But the truth is, if you really watch the movie, that's not where the movie ends up landing. Completely. It's an aspect of it, but I think realizing that there is power in the old stuff also, and that we need that, and that's how essentially what Luke fulfills at the end of the movie, is stepping into that role.
Not to mention the big sex scene where the fingers touch.
Fingers
touch.
Hey, that's pretty hot
for
a Star Wars movie. They never let me touch a finger.
The fan response to this movie has been loud. Everybody's got different opinions about it. For the bold decisions, brilliant decisions, I think, that you made in this movie. Has that response kind of impacted the way you're approaching the next Star Wars movies in any way?
No, not really. I mean, I feel like every Star Wars thing that ever gets made has a big, loud response because Star Wars fans are passionate, and that's what makes them awesome. You know, and so, but no, and it's. I don't think it's possible if you're really telling a story you care about and having it come from your heart. It's just not possible to be intellectually processing what everyone else wants, and nor would it be a good thing, a healthy thing. I don't think that's a good way to tell a story. So.
This is the only movie series where people go on Twitter and say, I swear to God, if in the Solo movie X, Y, or Z happens, I'm totally out of here. Yeah. So they're anticipating things they're not going to like. I love our fans.
I've been doing that as a Star Wars fan since the beginning. Yeah, that's part of being a Star Wars. That's what you do because you love this stuff so much. You're
when you see the documentary, he looks like a 9-year-old playing with action figures, but it's all giant on a big set. But he has the same enthusiasm and youthful exuberance that is just so charming.
And he's going to go beyond the Skywalker saga now, and I mean
enough with this dysfunctional family.
What do you want to see though? What would you want to see from the future Star Wars?
Listen, movies? I really enjoyed the prequels and Rogue One because there was 100% less Hamill. There's no pressure. You can just sit back and relax and take the ride, and that's what I'm looking forward to though on Solo.
Yeah, but you're still practicing your Force Ghost for Episode 9.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I can't confirm or deny. But again, I like to have fun on Twitter, so I tweeted that thing because they said something about your rose left behind. Wouldn't the metal hand just clanked? And I said, well, I mean, my theory is that he just force projected to somewhere else with the metal hand and no clothes. So the nudist planet.
Well,
but it's a crazy theory. It's not meant to be real. And lots of people, you have to remember, people don't get irony a lot on Twitter.
Yeah, I know.
Mostly,
I know.
they don't get it. So, but if anything, after years of being a trickster and a joker, people should know, don't take anything I say seriously.
Yes. Well, hopefully we see you back in some form for the next one. Congratulations on The Last Jedi. You guys made a
Thanks.
brilliant
Appreciate it,
Star
man.
Wars movie, and good luck moving on.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you.